Welcome to Therapy Explained, where we explain, demystify, and destigmatize mental health and mental health treatment. My name is Deniss. I'm a licensed therapist, mental health advocate, and your host here at Therapy Explained. Today's conversation is about something that I think is incredibly important, which is how to deal with the anxiety and stress that comes with all these new political changes and policies that are threatening many communities. My hope is to be able to leave you with more information and understanding about how your nervous system may be responding to what is happening and how you can practice self-care and community care. This topic can be itself anxiety-inducing, so go ahead and take a deep breath with me. And of course, before we dive in, a gentle reminder to give this video a thumbs up if you find it useful. And don't forget that you can get more information on this month's topic through Patreon, where I post free weekly content if you become a member in the free tier. Also through my Substack to stay in touch, I let you know what I've been up to and what conversations we're having. And then you can also choose to support this channel a little bit extra by becoming either a channel member or a paid Patreon. This will give you access to these videos ahead of time, lots of behind the scenes sneak peeks, and of course also voting on some of the topics that I will be covering this year. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about how you can manage and navigate this anxiety and stress of political uncertainty. In the last couple of weeks, you may have had a difficulty concentrating, feel drawn to constantly checking your phone or doom scrolling, trying to get information about what changes are coming, what new policies, what new laws, what new executive orders are being passed down, and how that is affecting you, your loved ones, and our communities. As a therapist, but also as a Mexican immigrant myself, I understand how it can feel to be consuming all of this information, but also not be quite sure what to do and what your role is. And of course, as a therapist and a mental health professional, I've been able to develop some tools for myself and also for the people that I work with to better navigate this situation. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some practical tools to help you navigate this moment and find that balance between staying informed, but also staying grounded and not feeling flooded. Number one, validate your experience. Before we start really deep into this conversation, the very first step is to remember that the response that you're having, this anxiety, this stress, is normal. You're not overreacting, you're not being dramatic. It makes sense and it is rational to have an increase in anxiety and stress because of everything that's happening. When we talk about anxiety and stress in general, remember that anxiety tends to be triggered by a lack of control and a not knowing, right? It's the not knowing that then gets the anxiety to fill in all those blanks with the worst case scenarios and all the scary thoughts. But the difference in the anxiety that we are all experiencing now is that it is connected to our government. And the power difference here is astronomical. Policies, rules, executive orders, and things that are coming down are going to have a huge effect on ourselves, on other people that we may care about, and other people that are part of our either local or greater communities. It makes sense that as a human being, you're going to care, you're going to empathize, and even if it isn't directly impacting you, you're going to carry that. And because we're dealing with such a large system, it's also so easy to feel overwhelmed and have no idea what you can do to help protect the people that you care about. So let's talk a little bit about what you can do to help yourself navigate what is happening and feel a little bit more grounded. Build your resilience toolkit. We have had so many conversations about how important it is to have grounding tools and a variety of coping tools. So we're talking things like going for walks, journaling, yoga, meditating, doing puzzles, going into nature, resting, all of these things. It's important to kind of have them as hobbies and easily accessible activities so that you can help your nervous system feel a little bit more grounded. Whenever you feel that your anxiety and your stress is very heightened and you're feeling really out of control, even within your body, it becomes easier to reach for these activities and things if you've done them before. It might even become very helpful to start to establish these as morning routines or nighttime routines to help your nervous system start in a more leveled out space and end your day and with your nervous system a little bit more calm. Also, part of your resilience toolkit will be to focus on the things that you have control over. So that is having plans for that worst case scenario if you have one in your head. What can you do to protect yourself and the people that you care about and or your community? Which leads me to my next point, but before I jump to it, part of it is having a community and a support system. So making sure that you are exposing yourself to people who think like you and who share your values will be helpful, because that reminds you that you are not alone in this fight. You don't have to fix everything and fight back at everything that is coming. Thankfully, there are also many people who think like you or similarly to you and want to protect their communities as well. So you don't have to do it all, and you're not alone. Community care and action. Speaking of community, like I said, building one can be really helpful for your own mental health. That way you know that you're not alone and that you don't have to do everything yourself. But being a part of a community can also help you feel more empowered and engaged in trying to fight back against some of the stress. Remember that lack of control is what tends to trigger our anxiety. So if we focus on the things that are in our control, like helping others around us, it can help us feel like we're doing something a little bit more productive and that we're contributing to a larger effort. Like many other things, helping our community is not black and white. You either give yourself all or you're doing absolutely nothing. Remember that it exists in a spectrum. So there's different ways to help community and there's different ways to get involved. Ask yourself how you can do that and what the most sustainable way to do that is. What are the resources that you have that you can donate, whether that's time, money, effort, passing on education, passing on information? Can you volunteer once per month, right? Or is it more about educating yourself and having those conversations with the people around you, getting involved with mutual aid or other organizations that are maybe putting in more of that work and have been putting in some of that work for much longer, who may have a better idea of how you can be of help? Establishing healthy boundaries. Within the theme of self-care, there will always be room for boundaries. Boundaries are going to be extremely important in most of our mental health. So in this case, what I'm talking about is setting boundaries with the information that you are consuming. The balance between staying informed and not overwhelming yourself or triggering yourself will be different for everybody. So try to find what balance sounds like to you. Some questions to ask is, who are the sources that I am obtaining my information from? Do I trust these sources? And what are the times in which I actually need to be informed? That doom scrolling and constantly checking your phone may not be helpful. It is only increasing your levels of anxiety and stress because there is no more news and you're trying really hard to obtain it. So give yourself a break and figure out, okay, I want to start my day knowing, so maybe practicing some grounding, some self-care, and then checking the news. Or perhaps near the end of the day, if you're going to check the news, this is when your resiliency toolkit comes in. So if you're going to check the news near the end of your day, also remember to make use of some grounding tools so that you're able to go to sleep. When we talk about fighting back and activism, it is going to be so important that we prioritize resilience. And to build resilience, we need to find healthy boundaries that work for us. Rest, joy, fun is a big part of this. Allowing your lives to still have that will help you recharge yourself so that you can continue the fight, so that you can then pour onto others, right? And we do that by resting. We do that by allowing ourselves to celebrate small wins and engaging with people who make us feel safe and seen and supported. Seek more formal support. I know that I usually end most of my videos with this piece, but it's because I honestly believe that it can be helpful. It's what we do here. We talk a lot about mental health because of all the lessons that therapy teaches us, all the discoveries that we can make within that. And a lot of the conversations that we have are very quick and very short, and so this definitely is not enough. So if you're considering therapy, I highly encourage you to follow through with that a little bit more. Maybe go and figure out what your insurance looks like, what your budget might be out of pocket, and start to figure out maybe some directories where you would like to search. Now, I do have a free resource list with different directories and places that offer low-cost therapy. So if you would like to check that out, feel free to hit the link below for my Patreon, and that's where you can find that free resource list. However, if individual therapy is not for you, I do encourage you to consider whether that is like a formal mental health group, like support group, or more informal support groups. Thankfully, there's quite a few popping up that are either low cost or free. So make sure to check some out in your area or see if there's any in your area. It is okay not to be okay. Nothing is normal right now. The stress and anxiety that you're experiencing is because there are real threats. So it might not be realistic for us to expect that you're just gonna do some coping tools and do all the things I talked about and then just feel 100%. It's more likely that you'll still feel some stress and some anxiety, but hopefully the things that I've shared with you today can help you feel more at ease and more in control of it. You know, not so overwhelmed and more confident that you can get through this. I hope you found today's conversation useful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and go ahead and check out all the additional information and content that I will be sharing for free on Patreon. And hey, if you want to support the channel a little bit more because you really enjoy these videos and find them useful, consider becoming either a YouTube member or a paid Patreon. You'll get early access to videos, and I will also email you the audio version of all videos because I know that sometimes it could be a little bit easier to listen than watch. But of course, watching, liking, and subscribing to this channel is also more than enough support, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Before we say goodbye, take a deep breath in with me. And out. And I'll see you in the next one.